We now here live on our set in Atlanta is Democratic political strategist and commentator Frederick Hicks and Republican strategist Katie Frost. Welcome to The Story Is for the first time, both of you. Good to have you live here on this set. Katie, your thoughts. Why was Kristi Noem fired?
Well, if you look at this, there's a good lesson for all of us in this. If you become a distraction, you become disposable. And this immigration was a key part of President Trump's campaign for the presidency. And there's so many phenomenal accomplishments have been happening in that policy area over the last year. We're not talking about it. What are we talking about? We're talking about ad campaigns and private planes. She became a distraction, and it was time for her to go, in the opinion of a lot of people. You could see the way the press was covering it. The knives were clearly out because President Trump has had tremendous success. Encounters at the border at a 50-year low. Crime is at a 125-year low. These are good things we should be talking about, and we're not.
Well, there's this ad campaign that they're talking about that she testified before Congress saying President Trump gave her the A-OK for, and President Trump said, no, I didn't. And that apparently was a big part of what happened here. What do you think's really going on here, Frederick?
Well, I think this is exactly what happens when you hire someone who's not qualified for the position. And for an administration that's made a big deal about eliminating quote-unquote DEI hires and all of that, you hired someone who really couldn't handle this kind of an agency. And this shows what the president really valued, which is loyalty over competency. And that's something that Democrats have been complaining about for the entire time this administration has been in office this go around. Keep qualified people, put qualified people in there, and you don't have these issues.
Well, I guess it depends on what makes somebody qualified. One of the things that President Trump has liked is people that perform well on TV. Kristi Noem certainly wore a lot of different outfits in the process, and she had been a good TV performer over the years. Now they go to Markwayne Mullin. Why him? What do we know about him?
So Senator Mullin is probably the only member of the Senate in history that is actually a mixed martial arts fighter as well. So he's 3-0. So like if you want a fighter,
people like a fighter. He's literally a fighter.
He is literally a fighter, and he threatened to get into a fight with the head of the Teamsters Union at one point. I don't know if you remember that from the hearing. So he's someone who is, but he's also no nonsense. He's very straightforward. He's been a very reliable Republican vote. He does go on television and defend the president, but not in necessarily a showmanship way. You can run for president once you've been in the cabinet, but you shouldn't be trying to run for president while you're in the cabinet. And I'll say, as far as hiring good people, let's look at the stability of this term versus President Trump's first term. At this point in March of 2018, we already had 5 cabinet secretaries who were gone. Now we're at a 20% turnover rate from where we were last time. So I think things are pretty good.
And the other thing that's very different this time, the leaking, far less.
Exactly.
There is a lot more loyalty among Team Trump, better or worse, but that means there isn't that infighting, at least publicly, that we've seen.
There's nothing like spending 4 years out of the presidency and then coming back to learn who's really loyal to you.
So Markwayne Mullin now goes before the Senate, where he is a senator. So he's friends with a lot of these people on both sides to begin with. Is he able to pass because of that?
Well, I think he will, and I think this is also a symbol or a sign that the administration realizes that its relationship with Congress is changing and has changed in 2026 and 2025. And so this is an effort to stabilize that relationship by taking someone from the senior upper chamber and putting them in his administration. And that's a really smart move from a strategic standpoint because, we got to remember a lot of the votes, confirming secretaries, came down to J.D. Vance. We're talking about Pete Hicks and other things, other positions. And with the threats they face in the Senate this past week, is really important for the president to stabilize that relationship.
And of course, Oklahoma, Republican state, Republican governor, would appoint a Republican replacement who probably would not have a strong Democratic challenger going forward as well.
And who had the best confirmation? Senator Marco Rubio received 99 votes and has largely been seen as one of the top players in this administration and is receiving great reviews for his job as Secretary of State.
Indeed. Now, the Congress, meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security is not being funded. Because there is still that shutdown that is underway. Does this change the calculus for Democrats? Now that they got a metaphorical scalp in Kristi Noem, she's out, and we've got the war in Iran, is it time to reopen the Department of Homeland Security?
For Democrats, it wasn't as much about the person as it was the policies. And so I understand what Kristi says, that they, from a Republican perspective, that they've had a lot of successes. But what Democrats, and I think Americans see, you see Alex Brady, you see Renee Good, two Americans who were killed under Noem's watch. And we see what happened with TSA and threatening the pre-check, and all these things have happened under this administration, under Noem. And so if those things continue, regardless of who the secretary is, the Democrats will continue to have an issue with that. Now, if the new person marks a change in policy, then we can see something different. But it's going to come down to what he does.
What do you think? Is it time for this to end?
The shutdown?
Yeah.
It never should have started, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Look, we are now on a very precarious position on the world stage. If there's ever a time we need to be focusing on protecting the homeland, it's now. We need to just get the Democrats and the Senate need to go ahead and vote and get this funded.
It's been interesting how one person's leadership can be so different, because there has been a fight at the top of Homeland Security since the start between Kristi Noem and also Tom Homan, who is the border czar, who clearly did not have a great relationship amongst each other, and there has been a battle for both of them. And the way that Homan has handled the situation in Minneapolis when he went in there, very different in terms of change of policy. So maybe that notes that there could be something different coming here.
Well, for sure, because what Democrats want in order to end the shutdown is really accountability and honesty and integrity. Remember when Renee Good and Alex Purdy were both killed, Kristi Noem rushed to blame the victims. And we now know, and we had video evidence at the time, that what she was saying was simply not true. So they brought in Homan there to stabilize the situation. We've seen the same kind of thing play out with FEMA, which right now is in disarray. And so again, if Democrats, we want accountability, we want transparency, we want truth, and we want American or the homeland to be protected, not an individual's political aspirations.
What do you think is next for Kristi Noem? Where does she go from here?
That's a very good question. Of course, she has this new position that they're talking about that she'll be taking, but there's also been some scuttlebutt.
Is that a real job?
Well,
come on.
Does she want to go back to South Dakota and run for something? I mean, look, she's clearly someone who has high political aspirations. And Corey Lewandowski actually was speaking to a former Noem staffer. In her words, Corey has been, quote, bossing people around since 2020. So Lewandowski's been in the orbit for a long time. He is someone who saw her, because remember where she was in 2020. She was governor of South Dakota. She's getting a lot of positive press for how she was handling her state during COVID. He saw her as a next political star that he could help rise to the top.
Is that all he saw her as?
I'm going to be different.
I mean,
do not want to speculate.
Is that all that he saw her as?
I don't want to speculate. I know it's late night, but I don't want to speculate about that. But he clearly saw potential in her. We'll just put it that way.
And he's out now. He's leaving Department of Homeland Security along with Kristi Noem as well.
I imagine. And I will say, I know a lot of people who work at DHS. They're doing phenomenal work, and I would hate for tabloid fodder to overshadow the good work they're doing. So I look forward to good things coming out of DHS going forward.
Very interesting. Thank you both for coming here and unpacking a big, big night in American politics, and of course a big night around the world.